This painting was once much bigger than it is today, and that's exactly what makes its story so disturbing. Because one of the greatest masterpieces in art history isn't hanging in a museum exactly as its creator intended. Parts of it are missing, gone, cut away forever, and the worst part? The damage wasn't caused by war or some ancient disaster. People did it on purpose. This painting is called The Night Watch, created by Rembrandt in 1642, and more than 300 years later it remains one of the most famous paintings ever made, not because it survived history, because history damaged it. At first glance, The Night Watch looks like a military portrait, a group of armed men preparing for action, officers giving orders, soldiers moving into position, flags waving in the background. Nothing unusual, but that's exactly what made the painting revolutionary. Because before Rembrandt group portraits were predictable, boring. Everyone stood still, everyone faced the viewer, everyone looked important. The result felt less like a painting and more like a class photograph. Rembrandt changed everything. Instead of painting men standing still, he painted men moving, talking, preparing, living. The painting felt alive, and people had never seen anything like it before. But then something strange happened. The people who paid for the painting weren't completely happy. In 17th century Amsterdam, group portraits were expensive. Every person paid money to appear in the artwork. The more important you were, the more visible you expected to be. That created a problem. Rembrandt focused attention on only a few figures: the captain dressed in black, the lieutenant dressed in yellow, several soldiers moving through the crowd. Others disappeared into shadows. Some faces became difficult to see. Some figures received far less attention than they expected. And suddenly a masterpiece became controversial, not because it was bad, because it was too different. Then came the real tragedy. In 1715, the painting was moved to Amsterdam's town hall. There was only one problem. It didn't fit. The canvas was too large for the wall, and today most people would move the painting somewhere else. Not in 1715. Instead, they cut the painting. They literally cut pieces off the sides. Large sections disappeared forever. Figures vanished. Details vanished. Part of Rembrandt's original composition vanished. A masterpiece that survived decades was mutilated simply because it was inconvenient. Imagine taking a knife to the Mona Lisa because the frame was too large. That's essentially what happened, and it gets worse. For centuries, nobody knew exactly how much had been lost. People understood the painting had been cut, but they didn't know what the original looked like. Then researchers discovered an older copy made before the damage occurred. Suddenly, they could compare the two versions. And the truth was shocking. The original painting was far more balanced, far more dramatic, far more complete. Entire figures had disappeared. Important visual information had been removed. The masterpiece hanging in museums today isn't the masterpiece Rembrandt finished, it's only part of it. Yet somehow the painting survived. Wars came and went. Empires rose and fell. Generations disappeared. The Night Watch remained. Then in 1975, another disaster struck. A man entered the museum carrying a knife. Without warning, he attacked the painting. Slash after slash tore through the canvas. Visitors watched in horror. One of the greatest artworks in history was being destroyed in front of them. Fortunately, experts managed to restore most of the damage. But the attack left scars, both on the painting and on the people responsible for protecting it. You might think that would be the end of the story, but it wasn't. In 1990, another man attacked the painting, this time using acid. Again, the artwork survived. Again, conservators rushed to save it. Again, history nearly lost a masterpiece. It's almost unbelievable. A painting survives centuries, then repeatedly comes within seconds of destruction. And perhaps that's what makes The Night Watch so fascinating. It isn't just a painting. It's a survivor, a masterpiece that has been cut apart, attacked, damaged, restored, studied, protected, and somehow still stands before millions of visitors every year. Not in the form Rembrandt intended, not in perfect condition, but alive. Today people visit the museum expecting to see a famous painting. What they actually see is something much stranger. A wounded masterpiece. A piece of history carrying visible scars. A reminder that even humanity's greatest creations are fragile. And perhaps that's the hidden lesson inside The Night Watch. Masterpieces don't survive because they are protected. They survive because generation after generation decides they are worth saving. And if that decision had gone differently even once, one of the greatest paintings ever created might have disappeared forever.